O'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Karen, it's so very good to have you in Clinton, Oklahoma. We've looked forward to this for a long time.
Thank you.
And all of my life, I have had people tell me that you ask too many questions. So,
Well,
if
all my
I-
life people tell me I talk too much, so I think we're going to be just fine.
we ought to make a good pair.
That's right.
Let me ask you a question or two. Where's home?
Home is Dahlonega, Georgia. We live an hour north of Atlanta.
Okay. You have family,
Yes.
children.
I'm married. My husband Ricky and I've been married 21 years, and of course we travel together with our two children. Our son Matthew's 18, and our daughter Carrie is 14.
And you homeschool them.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
My son is a senior this year, so, and then my daughter's in the 8th grade, and of course my sister Susan travels, and she and her husband have a 14-year-old son, and he's actually in public school.
Okay. And are there other siblings besides Susan?
Yes, we do have another sister. Her name is Sandra. She's the oldest. There's 3 girls, and Sandra, Susan, and then I'm the youngest.
How did you get started in Southern gospel music?
Well, our mom and dad used to take us to the all-night sings in Atlanta when we were growing up. And Susan and I have always sung in a girls' trio, or we were always in part-time groups around home. And then in 1980, I joined my first professional group, Alphas Lefevre and the Lefevres. And then a year later, joined the Neelands. And I was with them for 10 years. And then in January of 91, Susan, my sister Susan, my husband Ricky, and I started New River.
Okay. And how many engagements a year?
We do about 200 days a year.
Tell me a little bit about life on the road. I have oftentimes wondered, you rest well?
For the most part, I think it goes in spells. I'm finding this is my 30th year. I just celebrated 30 years traveling full time, and a lot of times I'll sleep better on the bus than I do at home.
Okay.
But I rest well. But I'm finding the older I'm getting, the more I'm not sleeping as well as I do at home, where my bed is still and it's quiet.
Maybe that just goes with age.
I guess it does.
Understand why you waited so long, but His way is God's way, not yours or mine. And isn't it great when He's 4 days late, He's still on time.
On the bus, do you cook?
We don't cook on the bus. Now, I do cook at home, and my sister cooks, of course. But usually, we have snacks on the bus, but we don't have like a stove. Now, I do have a crock pot, but just very rarely do we ever cook anything on the bus. But we do have a microwave. So.
My understanding is when you finish the concert here tonight, that you're going to board the bus, and then a lady told me back to Mississippi.
Yes, we are in Lake, Mississippi tomorrow night with some friends of ours that Hazel Baptist Church, and they're very dear friends. We try to get to their place at least once a year or once every year and a half. So we will be there tomorrow night, and then back in our hometown on Sunday morning.
Okay.
But we will be off for a couple of weeks for Christmas, and then, of course, we'll be in our home churches. So that's nice, and we always look forward to being
sure.
at home with our folks at our churches.
That was pretty good. I think we can do a little better. Let's try it again. Everybody say, hey. Hey. Now, every time we get to that word, hey, we want you to throw your hand and say, hey. Here we go. Hey, what you gonna do when the Lord comes back for his chosen few? Hey, what's he gonna find? Will your heart be red or filled with gloom? Are you gonna be ready? 'Cause it's gonna be soon. Hey, what you gonna do when the Lord
Another thing that I have wondered for the last 10 days, maybe 2 weeks, I've had laryngitis.
Yeah.
Don't have a sore throat, maybe an allergy. But what happens if you suffer laryngitis? Your voice. How do you handle that? Do you sometimes have to cancel engagements?
No, we just keep going, and it's tough. It's tough, when we have laryngitis. I'm fortunate that I'm able to sing with Susan and Jeff, and if there's 3 of us, so if one of us has laryngitis, a lot of times the others can kind of cover for them, but since I do most of the leads, it's kind of tough. And about a year and a half ago, I had laryngitis. I had caught a summer cold, and I had laryngitis, and it was so bad. And I told Susan when we got back on the bus, I said, y'all need to go ahead and fire me because this was so bad. But I guess I'm just stubborn enough to where I just can't cancel a date.
Yeah.
And then number 2, I'm stubborn enough that I'm just not going to let it get the best of me, so I'm going to keep going. So
Amen.
I'm a diehard, I call myself, but I'm too much like Rex Nealon and the older folks that paved the way for us, and I've just got that drive, I guess, that they do. And I've watched Rex Nealon all those years. He always would try to his very best to make the dates, and if he had to walk, he would have made those dates, and that was a great example to me as well. So
Karen, I can identify with that. I began preaching when I was a boy, 17 years old.
yeah.
And there have been many a times that I preached when I didn't feel like preaching.
Oh yeah.
But that's just part of it, and I think that's what the Lord expects of us, to go beyond what we feel like doing
And
sometimes.
don't you think that too? Honestly, I think it just boils down to the fact that the Lord doesn't need my voice. He just needs my obedience, and he just needs me to be
Amen.
willing to go. And I found that, and it's humiliating when you're trying to sing and nothing comes out, and it's just so embarrassing and so humiliating. But you know what? I find a lot of times when I don't feel like it or I'm under the weather is when God will bless the most.
Amen.
domain or be held in sin's duress away.
I have experienced that. Well, they're telling me to hurry up just a little bit. I want to ask you, because I know that you have recently been nominated for
A Grammy.
a Grammy.
Yes, it's a Grammy, and we'll be going in February. Our latest project, Live at Oak Tree, is nominated, and we're so excited.
I want to know quickly how that works. How do you get nominated?
Well,
What-
it's actually from the Recording Academy, and there are several thousands of people that you have to meet the requirements. Like as an artist, you have to be a professional, you have to do this for a living, and you have to have so many albums out. And a lot of times, all the time you're voted on by record labels and industry people. So,
Are you going to be a movie star?
no, I'm not going to be a movie star, but I am going to be in a movie. I've got just a small part in a movie that will feature Dolly Parton and Queen
Okay.
Latifah called Joyful Noise.
Okay.
And they're going to start shooting at the first of the year in Atlanta. The movie's about a church competition, and I'm going to be one of the lead vocals in one of the choirs that will be competing. And so I'm very excited. This is a brand new experience for me. So
I'm sure
y'all
you'll
pray.
do well with it. I'm sure you'll do well. And so good to have you here tonight.
Thank you so much.
All
We're
right.
glad to be here.
All right.